where do you feel like your skill set really fits in with this offense and this program?
You know, my biggest thing is just trying to do whatever the coaches ask of me. So, you know, with being kind of familiar with them while they were at North Dakota State, you know, I seen things that they did with their tight ends, and were really multiple and lining them up as a true tight end and as a fullback, split out wide. And I feel pretty comfortable lining up in different places across the field. That's what I've done the past few years. So I knew that was going to be a good fit. And that I would, you know, once I learned the offense and everything, would be pretty comfortable in that. And so that's one of the biggest places where I feel comfortable in this offense. And I feel that I hopefully will end up being a good fit. You know, the more reps I get, and the more practices we get into things, and just lining up in multiple places and doing whatever they ask of me.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had a relationship with Skylar before all this, right? Like what is the relationship like with them?
Yeah, so we started playing against each other in about 4th or 5th grade in basketball. Became friends from there. Played against each other, I mean, almost weekly. Eventually we ended up playing with each other, I want to say 8th grade, in like a Missouri All-Star game. And really from there, going through high school, we always had a good relationship. You know, he went to Fort Osage, I went to Blue Springs South. We played each other once in football, a couple times in basketball growing up. And just, you know, always had respect for each other. I mean, you guys all know the type of person he is. He's been that person since we were young, very mature, a great leader. So there was always high respect for him. And then, I mean, what's crazy looking back now, even while we were in college, at 2 different colleges, in the summers, we would come back and he would need somebody to throw to, and I would need a quarterback. And I mean, in the summers in May, while we had a couple weeks home, we'd work out together, run routes. And we both said it before, but every single time we'd just sit there and talk after, and we'd always say, how crazy would it be if we were able to play together? Not actually thinking that would come true, but, you know, looking back where we are now, seems like, you know, it's just almost too good to be true.
Appreciate it, Bradley. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Kels?
So how good is your rapport with Skylar now that you are actually playing together?
I hopefully say great. He's a great person off the field. Most importantly, he's a man of high character and high faith, and you know, that's why I've always looked up to him, his character. Now that we're on the field together, knowing the same offense and getting things down and getting a feel for each other with timing and, you know, what do you see here? What do you see on this play? I think we're getting pretty comfortable playing together, and I look forward to continuing that comfort level and just getting closer when it comes to things like that.
When you started to dig into what these coaches did at North Dakota State with tight ends and what they did last year with tight ends, how much did that excite you to be part of that system?
A lot. That was one of the biggest reasons that, you know, going into transferring, my fingers were crossed. I hope K-State calls. I hope K-State calls, because of the things that I've seen them do with their tight ends while I was at Northern Iowa. And, you know, they always got the best of us. A couple of times we thought we were going to get them, but I was 0-4 against them. So I got to see a lot of what they do on offense. And so I was, like I said, fingers crossed, hoping, because, you know, I know how much the tight end means in their offense. And once I entered the transfer portal, and I ended up texting Skylar later that day. I tried not to text him before that I was even thinking about it. I didn't want to jinx anything. I texted him later that day after I'd actually talked to K-State a couple of times. It was almost a no-brainer from there.
Christian?
Yeah. Hey, Briley. Good to talk to you again.
Yep. Same to you.
The question is about the dynamic that you and Nick Lenners could have, being 2 big-bodied pass catchers who can really kind of explode. How do you figure that dynamic might be able to lift this offense this season?
Yeah, I think when you have multiple guys I mean, at any position, but, in this offense at the tight end position, that are able to stretch the field, be the point of attack in blocking schemes. I think that's really hard for defenses to really key into. And I mean, in just past us two, you got other guys like Mason Barta and Sammy Wheeler and so on. And, there's so much depth at that position or at our position that, I think hopefully we will get some matchup issues, but I think it'll be really hard and really good for us to make sure we keep the defenses honest when they're lining up against us because of the different things that you can do whenever you have so many athletic people playing many different positions.
On the other side of the ball, you got another senior transfer, Keandre Thomas, getting his chance at K-State. What have you seen from Keandre so far?
Yeah, I think as a guy that's transferring in at, what I was thinking when I was coming in, it could be kind of a difficult situation, but along with myself and, the way that the team embraced all of us coming in, it really made us comfortable. So you get to see him on the other side of the ball, just play his game and be comfortable. And whenever, you're coming in as a transfer and you're flying around the way that he does, he's been able to show what he's capable of doing early. And that's because of the climate of the players and the coaches in this program.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Adam Meyer.
Riley, as you said, you and Skylar were happy to unite and you were happy to come and be a tight end for Skylar. When you and him saw each other for the first time on campus or for practice, what was that interaction like for both of you?
We both – I remember the first time we seen each other, we both just started laughing because we were on the phone a lot, texting each other. And, I mean, still to this day, we'll just say, like, it doesn't seem real. I remember we went and worked out once school had finished in May. And, like I said, we just started laughing and just talking about how crazy it was and how both of our paths ended up crossing the way that they did with – an injury for me last year, preventing me from playing my senior season. And now it's just unreal. It's God definitely had his hands over the whole situation to lead us together to play our senior year.
Let's do these last two real quick. John?
Yeah, Briley, I know this all just happened. I think it was late last week when the NCAA announced, in essence, your eligibility will be frozen for this year. Is that something you've given much thought to, what you might want to do at the end of this year if you would consider sticking around another year?
Honestly, I haven't thought about it too much. I'm just trying to attack each and every day and be ready for whenever the opportunity to play football comes, and hopefully that's September 12th. But if, something goes bad and that's next fall, then it's in the spring, whenever it is, I'm going to be ready. And our team's going to be ready. That's something I think that we've done a great job of. But, I haven't really tried to think too much about it. I'm just trying to attack each and every day just because it's another opportunity to play football. And, there's people across the country, college football players that don't have that opportunity. If I, wouldn't have transferred, I wouldn't have that opportunity. I'd be preparing for a spring season. So right now I'm just, focused on today, focused on how I can get better from yesterday's practice and how I can improve today and just get a little bit better today. And then, when that time comes to think about that, I'll sit down with my family and with the coaches and discuss that. But, as of right now, I haven't thought too much of it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And last one, Kellis.
Yeah, Briley, one follow-up from what I was saying earlier. Can you get into any kind of specifics about what it is that Chris Kleiman and Courtney Messingham do with their tight ends that really pumps you up about playing for them?
Yeah. The tight ends, they do everything. They line up as, in a true pro set, well, two tight ends on the ball and a fullback. You can get into any different personnel formations, and at any time you can have two tight ends split out as slot receivers, and you can run four verticals, and you can run different concepts that normally you'd only do with true wide receivers, but they do a great job of shifting and motioning and creating mismatches for the tight ends. And I mean, really for anybody, for the receivers, for the running backs, and just do a great job of getting those mismatches and really utilizing the skill set of the players. And so I was able to see that on the opposite side. And then once all this happened, started watching film and, seeing what they were able to do last year, and everything going so far in the past week and a half to 2 weeks that we've been in camp. So I'm super excited about that, and just trying to do my part and do what I can do to help the team.